Attention, all of my Afro Mexicanos that were born and raised in Mexico and that are now living in the United States. Let me ask you guys a question. Do you guys think that these two people, Mr. Advice Show and Mrs. Brenda Smith, have the grounds to speak on Afro communities? Let me explain. Now, a lot of Americans, you specific Americans, that like to push that ideology that we all go through the same shit. Those people. Y'all have to stop using that same ideology across different countries. Now, when it comes to Mexico, La Costa Chica, exactamente, en Guerrero, en Oaxaca, let me speak on that for a bit. In La Costa Chica, it is predominantly Afrocentric. Now, a lot of the points that people like to bring up, like Mrs. Smith, she said that why is it that Afrocentric people in Mexico, they deny their blackness? Well, let me retract that. The Advice Show had asked her this question. Now, based on my personal experiences in La Costa Chica and Guerrero, they are proud Afro people. When I went down there, they told me they were considered Afro Mexicanos. Now, yes, they are Mexicanos, but they like to put that prefix because they're proud people. Now, they don't deny their blackness. They know that they are Afrocentric. They know their roots. They actually practice as a tradition until this day African dances. It's called La Danza de los Diablos. I'll show you. So, you have to stop pushing this ideology on these different countries, specifically Mexico. Now, when it comes to citizenship, when you brought that up, Mrs. Smith, that's just like saying, okay, if a person was born in one country and they migrated into another country illegally, but them not knowing, let's say, for example, if they were a kid and they were brought with their parents and their parents never told them, but they got a wake-up call by the police saying, hey, look, I'm sorry to say, I hate to break it to you. You're not a natural citizen here, so you have to go by our rules, and we have to deport you. You can gain re-entry once you follow our rules. That's how it is. Now, when you say you grew up in Georgia, you know what you are? You are a Georgian. You are an American citizen. Now, I understand that you said you've lived in Mexico City for quite some time, DF, Distrito Federal, but that population, you have to realize that population has over 20 million citizens, including foreigners. Now, black people have a very to almost none of a chance of living there in Mexico City. That's not their place that they want to be. So, when you spoke about your experiences, or you spoke on Oaxaca, you said that they're pretty much indigenous people and there's a lot of Afro people there. Well, in my experiences, it's a little bit different. Yes, Oaxaca is very dominantly indigenous. Now, there is a small group or small communities that are Afro-indigenous, or they're between the mixed blood, called Zambu, part of the caste system back in the day. So, when you try to push this narrative on them, consider themselves Afro, they're Mexicans, but you have to realize in these areas, how can they discriminate against each other when they all look similar? They all have similar traits, just like blacks in America, just like blacks in Cuba, blacks in Brazil. When you come from an ethnicity, you have similar features. That's how it is. So in these black areas, or let me stop using the term black, in these Afrocentric areas, and La Costa Chica, they're very similar to each other. And they don't have a big, I hate to say it and break it to you, white population. So how in the world will they be discriminating against each other with white people, if you would want to call it? How are they discriminated against? You have to not use that American mentality when you go to different countries. That's how it is. You have to leave that on that side of the border, especially when you come here to Mexico. Now, thank God that my good people in La Costa Chica Guerrero are remarkably awesome people. They don't care what color you are. They look at you as family. Let me tell you a quick story. I remember I was video chatting when I was in La Costa Chica. I was video chatting one of my homegirls from Toluca. I think it's called Toluca, and it's about 20 minutes from Mexico City. And she's not black. She's, mestiza. But when she shown her face to one of my good lady friends, I call her, mi tia, which she is very Afrocentric, she looked at her and told her, look, you come down here, you are my daughter. We are going to treat you like my daughter. So that should show you, if they're the opposite colors, and for my tia not even knowing who this woman is on my phone, to take her in like that, what does that show you? So I'm not trying to go against the grain of your experiences in these Afrocentric communities, or when you speak on, Afro communities when it comes to Mexico. Do a little bit more ground research and actually interact with the people there. Like, yeah, you may have a few pictures on Instagram. That don't mean shit. What people really need to realize, when you go back to a certain place, does the people know you? Do the people interact with you? How do they take you in? That's what you really need to pay attention to. Now, me, myself, I still consider myself an outsider. I've been there multiple times, and I interact with the people, as you can see in these pictures, and they still treat me like a human being. Now, even though I've been there for a long time, going back and forth, I had to gain my stripes. I have to earn their respect. And you have to realize, you are just an American tourist when you go to these areas, especially the Afro communities. When they look at you, they don't look at you, oh, we both black, so we the same. It does not work like that, sweetheart. I hate to break it to you, but that's not how it works in these Afrocentric communities. You are a stranger to the land. You have to earn their respect. They are not just going to take you in just because, hey, we both morenos. And let me speak on that. Los costeños. You have to say it with the accent. I mean, I understand you're American, so I'll let that pass. Los costeños. That doesn't mean you're automatically moreno. No, it just also happened that a lot of morenos live in La Costa. And La Costa just means the coast. That's it. There's a variety of colors. You have your caramel, you have your chocolate, you have your gradients of, chocolate, mocha, whatever, Afro mestizas and zambos. Those are the predominantly people that are on La Costa. Por ejemplo, Acapulco, por ejemplo, Copala, San Marcos, and Oaxaca. Those are the predominant people that are living on the coast. La Costa, los costeños. So it's funny how you say that, because in Acapulco, that's on the coast, but people from Acapulco call themselves Acapulqueños. They don't consider themselves costeños. They're both on the coast, but they consider themselves Acapulqueños. That's how it is. You can't play the race game with them because they all grew up together, regardless of skin color. So, Mr. Advice Show, I think it would have been a little bit more smart to bring someone on the show to speak on this specific topic that had a little bit more awareness about these Afro communities. Now, I know it's a hot topic right now, but they are good how they are, in these Afro communities. They're not whining and crying about American problems and accepting, their blackness. They get it. They know what they've been through, or they know what their ancestors been through. They're moving on. They accept each other. So my main point is that when you come to Mexico, especially to these rural areas, you can't continuously push the American ideology on these people. Because I've seen maybe 2 or 3, European looking people, that grew up in La Costa, and they talk like them. They talk like los costeños, and shit, they treat each other the same. They don't look at each other as with the color. So, what else did I want to bring up? Okay, now you did say, Brenda, just because their power goes out occasionally doesn't mean that, they're very poor people. They have a very poor infrastructure. Okay, I get it. Yes, when I was there, yes, the lights or the la luz or the electricity, it does go out. But that doesn't mean they have a fucked up infrastructure and they're crying about it. No, they're accustomed to it. They're okay with it, and they love their way of life. Just because it's not similar to America doesn't mean that they're a bunch of crybabies that want, American standards of equality. They're good the way they are, That's how it is. So my whole main point is that just because this is a hot topic right now, Afro Latinos, claiming, wanting to accept their blackness or whatnot, or denying their blackness, don't push that narrative on these Afro Mexicanos. That's all I gotta say on this topic. But I just I had to give my piece on this because, man, I put in fucking work, and I still feel like a foreigner, but I'm cool with that. I know I'm a foreigner, but as long as the people treat me with respect as I do for them, we're good. So respect the people, stop pushing narratives on these people, and just enjoy your time there. Enjoy your visit as a tourist. Arre pues, Negrito Grande. Let me know what you guys think, especially, you guys that are from Guerrero that are living in Estados Unidos, con tu gente, con tu familia. Sí, dime qué opinas. Vale pues, arre, al 100. Vale.